Roseanne devotees, Roseanne fans, Roseanneaholics, and Roseanne maniacs, and welcome to Roseanne Retrospectives. I'm Scott.
I am Blake.
I'm Pat.
This is the podcast where we sojourn into the Roseanne subdimension. What is the Roseanne subdimension, you ask? Well, in the series finale of the show, the Roseanne subdimension is revealed when we learn that Roseanne has really been writing a book about her life, and what we've been watching is her version of the story. In an effort to distinguish the Roseanne subdimension from the Roseanne reality, we review each episode of the show. Today, we will be talking about Season 1, Episode 4, Language Lessons, the episode where Darlene twice builds a castle.
There's something we need to talk about before we get into the specifics of this show. This is the shittiest, worst episode I've ever seen of Roseanne so far. It is bad. There is no dynamic. There's nothing learned. Nothing changes. It occurs in two locations, the kitchen and the living room. Nobody has any life lessons. It doesn't need to exist.
It's like a character building episode that they stick at the beginning of an early season to try and develop the characters, but nothing gets developed.
Now, the second housekeeping issue is we didn't have a corn reference exactly this episode. We had corny in reference to the dating magazine that Becky is reading.
Right, and I think that counts. I think that all they were going for when they reference corn in every episode of the first season. We actually skipped episode 3, so we have to go back and figure out what the corn reference in that episode was. But in this one, it was just, they used the word corny.
They might have said cornball in episode 3.
Yeah, it was probably something like that. We're going to go back.
No, popcorn. They were trying to pop popcorn.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You're right. Yep, there it is.
Pat,
we don't have to go back.
She's smart. That's why we keep her around.
Pat on the job.
Just like a beam of sunlight.
Speaking of beams of sunlight, let's get into the episode.
Let's do that.
All right, so we start the episode off in the... have we started every episode in the kitchen so far? First 4 at least?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I can remember.
We have.
This is a kitchen-heavy show. A lot of the Roseanne universe takes place in the kitchen.
Which makes sense. The mother, domestic goddess, kitchen thing.
Yeah, it is like... And when you're at home and you have kids, that's like the central... That's the home base.
And for Roseanne is her kitchen, and everybody spends time in the kitchen and naturally gravitate to it, then it's like they're all gravitated to Roseanne, and they're enclosed by Roseanne, and Roseanne ensconces them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
She stands at the center of the kitchen. Yes.
You know, the other thing
Think about
is...
the episode when that salesman dies in the kitchen. Coming up. Think about that with that metaphor. Nasty.
You know, the other thing that's strange, the kitchen has got to be huge in comparison to everything else.
Oh, yeah.
You normally don't buy a house where the kitchen is as big as the bedrooms.
Yeah, it's about as big as the living room, and the living room's pretty good size.
Maybe that's
that is a big kitchen.
It's a big kitchen. Yeah, because, there's a part that we never see where the cameras are always located. And you know that it's clear that the camera... Well, you're on a sound stage, so it's clear that it's not in a corner, but it makes the kitchen look like a huge space.
Right.
For everything to spread out in.
Okay, so we start off in the kitchen. What happens?
Right. So Dan is on the phone. He's talking excitedly, I think, to Dwight. He's got a potential job lined up. Dan is talking to Dwight about how he can call him back when he hears more about the job. He's going to be around all day because Dan doesn't have anywhere to go.
And we kind of had a talk about the Roseanne financial situation when this came up.
Mm-hmm.
They got to be living primarily off of whatever she makes at a plastic factory.
Right. And they're living...
And you don't make much at a plastic factory as an assembly person.
No, they're living paycheck to paycheck. From what we can tell.
Oh, they're probably living a whole lot tighter than paycheck to paycheck. They're probably like deferring things and getting, further and further in debt.
Yep.
It's probably not a pretty situation at the Connor household.
After Dan got a job, he put the phone down and then he just immediately started drinking. That really explains why he doesn't get those jobs that much.
Right. And in the In the subdimension, we see him drinking what appears was a soda. It says cola on it.
What? It didn't say beer on it?
No.
I thought
That
he just cracked
That
open
was
a
a
beer.
I would crack open a beer.
In
if
the
I were him.
reality, it was a beer. This episode, you don't see him drinking a beer. You see empty beer cans around him.
Oh, wow. So he's
Like in the
been
garage.
drinking.
Yeah,
He's been
exactly.
drinking, but he doesn't drink on camera.
Yes, exactly.
Here's the other thing. He doesn't have anything specific that makes him think he has this job at this point.
No,
He's just been told, hey, Dan, there's a job you could get.
No, this is not a sure thing at all. He's got to wait until someone gets back to him to tell him if they got the job or not. It's like a recruiter contacts you and it's like, here's a job you might be interested in applying for.
As we see later, he really did celebrate prematurely.
Yeah.
But then he immediately goes...
He's got his job is lined up for the Stanford building, I think. That sounds exclusive, so this sounds like a job that's going to pay a lot. I think he's remodeling a kitchen or something. It definitely seems like he hasn't worked in a while. He's got the hunger.
He starts cooking his famous chili.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
He starts
Just now.
cutting an onion.
He starts cutting an onion for the chili. And then all of a sudden, there's a soup pot on the stove full of chili.
Yeah, it was osmosis or something. It just suddenly appeared. Also, who gave it 4 stars? Why is it a 4-star chili? Why isn't it a 3-star chili? Why isn't it a 2-star chili? Who decided the scale? Was it Roseanne? Was it Jackie? Was it Dan?
It's a star for each person that eats the chili and likes it. And
So it's a
means
4
somebody
total.
doesn't like the chili. It's probably DJ.
No, nobody likes the chili.
Jackie.
Roseanne's being really nice. Jackie doesn't like the chili. DJ doesn't like the chili. And when like a 5-year-old, is he 5? I don't know.
DJ's like 5, yeah.
He's like 5, sure.
We'll call him a 5-year-old for now. If a 5-year-old doesn't like your chili and they say it's too bland, that's a big problem. Like that's garbage chili. That's like worse than Wendy's chili.
I wonder
That's
what
dumpster chili.
You
Yes.
said that you thought his chili was half beer.
Yeah, because I know you can pour beer in
Oh,
chili.
that would be
and
awesome. I would drink half beer chili.
Oh,
Well, they make. I mean, you can
That's
pour
like
a little bit of beer into your chili, and it adds a little flavor. Like you pour it
It's
in
like
like
the
beef.
weirdest Michelada
dishes.
ever.
Yeah, but when 50% of the chili is beer, it doesn't taste as good. So Dan's getting ready to make his chili, I guess, and Roseanne is making fun of his boxers. They have these like big stupid hearts all over them because she's doing the laundry and she's like pulling them out and teasing him. And
I have written down needless fan service.
yes, well,
So
I guess
that, I think is what I wrote that in response
I also thought, like, he wasn't out buying his own boxers. She clearly probably was.
yeah, because she has all the money. Like maybe
Right.
why would he pick those out?
I thought, and then she says something like the rudest. There are a lot of just like straight up insults in this. Like, if you were gonna have an insult, like one of the meanest things she says is that she married him because he needed a date to his wedding.
I
I was like, that is a douche move.
wonder what she said in the Roseanne reality.
Something pretty similar.
Except nobody was laughing.
Or
There was
you
no
married
laugh
me.
track.
You married me for my money. So Jackie comes in, and everybody
That's
the mood
after
sinks.
he
Yeah,
made the creepy joke about tying her up.
So here's the thing. Jackie is the most transitory character in terms of emotions, I think. All the kids are pretty developed. Roseanne is pretty developed. Dan is pretty developed. What I mean by that is their tone and the relationships that they have with one another don't really change too much over the period of time of the show.
Jackie's like a moist piece of tofu, and she just soaks
Exactly.
up whatever the writers decided to spray
They
on
don't
her.
know what to do with Jackie.
no.
She starts off kind of like a swinging single.
Mm-hmm.
Then she enters into this period of conflict, and that doesn't last for long either.
She started as like a kooky person who believed in what snake oil salespeople sold.
So they're
that's-
still always kind of trying to define who is Jackie and why does she exist.
Mm-hmm. And this is the episode where they start defining her as she exists almost as Dan's foil. Dan doesn't like her being in the house. Dan has a serious problem with her, and it's like they tried to set that up as this is going to be Jackie's thing. That she doesn't get along with Dan. She's Roseanne's sister. She's annoying. I don't know. We haven't seen the backstory between Jackie and Dan. Maybe Jackie has a lot of reasons. Like, maybe they have a lot of reasons to hate each other.
Nah, I think the actors were screwing Offset. So then they were just like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if these people who were screwing Offset were like, I hate you.
We have to
on the
now
show.
mention that Pat is absolutely fixated that John Goodman at some point had sex with Laurie Metcalf.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. I
Right.
didn't mean any type of demasculinating or
That extends beyond the Roseanne reality,
femalizing
too, into the real reality.
into the off
that's
reality.
This is the third layer I'm talking about here. The real reality.
If you're keeping track
is
at
that
home of our
Jackie-
layers.
Jackie would never have sex with Dan because she's gay. And then the sub dimension, which is Roseanne's story.
Our
is that
reality looks
Jackie
like a
and Dan
big
hate
ugly
each other.
onion.
Our reality is
And
that
it makes you cry.
yeah, Laurie Metcalf and John Goodman might have. I don't know. Maybe they were just flirting. I don't know. I'm sorry if either of them are listening. I just want to apologize for.
They're not listening. There's no way John
Really?
Goodman.
Yeah.
There's no,
listening to
they
this.
don't care. John Goodman's in Hollywood and Laurie Metcalf's in some play in Chicago. They don't give a shit.
It's nothing personal.
No,
if they're
if we'd
listening,
said
they're
Michael
definitely-
Fishman, he might be listening.
If they
Well,
contacted us.
I'm not gonna. No.
So Jackie's there presumably to do her laundry. I guess that's her thing. Every weekend she comes over to do her laundry. And
First time I heard about this.
Yep. They do. It comes back. Like, she already does kind of visit. I think it comes back though. That this like laundry
Yeah.
doing is her thing. So before she got there, Dan was talking about how Jackie always tried to tell him that she knew what his problems were,
Oh,
and
she
that
says
she
that so much this episode.
and that she could explain his problems to him, and that's super annoying. So the first thing she does when she gets in is she tastes Dan's chili, and says, "You know what your problem is, Dan? Your chili's too bland." Which is a double insult, because not only does she know what his problem is, but she's insulting his classic chili recipe.
The reality, she's like, you know what your problem is, Dan? This chili's half beer.
Yeah. Yes.
You put too much beer in the chili again.
A good chili has less than
Less
5%
than
beer.
Oh, really? 5%.
It's you really if you add chili to beer,
I was
cooks,
gonna say
cooks out there.
less than a quarter beer, but
Mm.
wow, you're strict.
Maybe not a quarter might be good. I don't know.
I don't.
5 to 25%.
I don't expect
Oh,
Dan
I
to be
think
able to put less than 25%.
any
in
more
chili.
than like 2% beer in a chili recipe is like downhill.
Yeah, it's really just to add that like subtle beer flavor, and it cooks out, so it's just like this.
So he doesn't want to believe it's bland.
No, he
He's
doesn't.
just mad at Jackie, like, "Ooh, you know better than me about the chili."
Definitely. And so Dan is sitting there cutting his onions and wielding a knife, and he makes a joke about like stabbing
Oh,
Jackie.
yeah.
And that is our first
Wait.
violent joke of the episode.
I have written down they keep fighting and coming up with excuses to touch each other. Does that sound accurate?
Now, in the reality, we know that Jackie is gay, unfortunately. But
Yeah, and really,
Yeah.
maybe it's more like Dan has
Not-
this creepy like.
And-
Jackie.
And I just want to
Jackie's
clarify
like,
that I
"No."
don't mean it's unfortunate that Jackie's gay. I just mean it's unfortunate that Dan can't be like dating
Thank you.
Jackie behind Roseanne's back. 'Cause that would,
man.
Damn, I didn't even notice you said that.
yeah, it's great that
man.
Jackie's gay. It would have been better had she been gay in the actual show, but
At least they
unfortunately,
stuck it in there at
Jackie's
the
straight.
end and made it canon, right?
Yes, yeah. We can applaud them for that at least.
Oh wait, doesn't she put her mouth all over the chili? When she
Well, yeah,
tastes the chili?
she keeps like licking the chili off of the wooden spoon.
That
Snarfles it up
that
off
wooden
of-
spoon has saliva from like everyone in the family.
Yep.
By the point in time the chili is done,
And
people
then
are like,
she puts it back in the pot and
mm.
stirs it.
Yeah, she got to stir her germs back in there.
Put some spit in it, just stir it around, hope
Mm.
it cooks out. Oh, that's delicious. Give me some of that chili.
Roseanne did that in the next scene too.
Yeah, and
Does
DJ
that
will
next
do that
scene.
later. Everybody's gonna get their spit in this chili before
Except for
it's done.
Becky. Becky doesn't get any chili.
Does Darlene?
No, neither do the girls do. And Becky probably has all kinds of sick chili because she's out like dating boys and doing
God,
crazy
yeah.
stuff.
She's got all sorts of bacteria on her lips,
Oh yeah,
if you know what I mean.
yeah.
The boys she's been kissing. She's been closed mouth kissing all sorts of 13-year-old boys.
I was gonna say, Yeah, she's 13, so most of the bacteria is going to be from probably like the lip area, right?
Yeah.
No throat bacteria in the show yet.
No tongue bacteria. None of that. So at this point, Roseanne invites Jackie to stay for dinner. I guess before it had just been she was doing her normal laundry routine.
Okay, and here's something I don't know if either of you guys picked up on this. She says, "Jackie, honey, why don't you stay for the night?" Roseanne saying honey doesn't sound right to me.
No, you don't call your siblings honey. So Becky comes into the kitchen. She's got her issue of Teenage Life.
All right, we need to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
There are teenage magazines, and they're normally called things like Beat, Teen Life, things that are short. Tiger Beat, Heat, Passion, things that are like short, emotional phrases. Mm-hmm. Teenage Life makes it sound like she's reading a pictorial magazine of like still life photography of teenagers during the 1950s.
So yeah, maybe she's reading something that was sponsored by Newsweek, and it was just designed to get parents scared about teenage trends.
As a segue, the internet says that teenagers were invented by Life magazine in 1944.
Yeah, it's like she's reading it, like I said, like a pictorial magazine by Life in the 1940s.
And all I'm finding are pictures of these young girls with these old woman-style haircuts all staring at each other while they drink milkshakes.
Because even though they were young in the 40s, they were still old.
That's your archetypal teenager right there.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, sorry. There were some teenagers drinking out of the same milkshake. I was shocked.
Okay, so Becky's reading her Teenage Life, and we have our Odies back on the table. Odies were the cereal brand from episode 1, and it's good to see that the Roseanne universe is creating its own little brand.
It reminds me a lot of how like Quentin Tarantino uses the same hamburger.
What?
Kahuna Burger.
Kahuna Burger.
Everybody knows that.
What's a Kahuna Burger?
It's a Quentin Tarantino hamburger. It's apparently very delicious.
It sounds like with a pineapple and ham on it.
Yeah.
So Darlene and DJ are working on this castle. So we begin scene 3 in the kitchen. So we're not making a lot of physical movement, but we are moving along through time. So Jackie is talking on the phone to someone. She's gossiping, talking about, I think, a romantic relationship she has. And she's standing with her foot, like, propped halfway up the door jamb.
It makes no sense why she would stand like that other than to be provocative for Dan.
Dan, who's pacing back and forth, and possibly Roseanne, who is staring at her from the stove.
Yeah, she's really in a...
It's like, I'm the young, vibrant, single woman here. Take a look at my sexuality.
And I'm going to talk loudly about my sex life so you can get a glimpse of what it's like to be a young, attractive, single woman in Lanford, Illinois.
32 years old. Wait, is she 31 or 32?
32. She's young. She's a young adult. She's on the prowl. She's looking for action. Not a cougar.
Not a cougar.
Not a cougar. Just a young...
Clooney might be younger than she is.
Yeah, I think he is.
I think he is, too.
He looks young. What we pick up is that Dan really hates Jackie, and...
genuinely.
Yeah. So Jackie finally acquiesces to Dan's pressuring because Dan wants her to get off the phone. He's waiting an important call from Dwight to see if he got his job. And Jackie hangs up the phone and is pissed off, but...
Because Dan bullied her.
Pretty much,
He was just
yeah.
yelling in at the phone receiver.
He's got a good reason. He wants work. He wants to be anything he can other than a pathetic layabout.
And then soon he gets called. He gets the call.
Yep, he gets the call. Call comes from Dwight, and the news is not good. Dan didn't get the job.
So the Roseanne reality is Dan is actually throwing the hugest little shit fit you have ever seen about this. And Roseanne's trying to calm him down, and then she's actually mad at him for not getting the job. So they're actually having a screaming fight, and it may be violent. The subdimension occurs where Jackie and what's the oldest daughter's name?
Becky.
Jackie and Rebecca come racing in the show. They just come racing in for like no reason.
Mm-hmm.
But in the reality, they come racing in because Roseanne and Dan were having a loud fight. And they're trying to distract them from having their terrible fight so they don't murder each other.
Makes sense.
Because of how violent they both are.
Right.
In the reality.
Murder each other? Is that what you think it is?
I thought they were going to actually, in the reality, murder each other. I could almost see it in my mind's eye. The negative space of Roseanne's writing made the violence clear.
So Becky and Jackie come in the subdimension, they think that Roseanne and Dan should fill out this love quiz that's in the back of Teenage Life that Becky has been reading, and
That's what they're trying to do in the reality, too.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
So
because it's a pathetic attempt at getting them to reconcile.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So Jackie just insists that they do this thing, and they acquiesce because I think they both realize that things were getting a little tense. So they are put to task to fill out or to complete this quiz that's in the back of this magazine. And so for the first example, or the first exercise that they're given, they're supposed to sit across from each other and transmit a strong emotion via touch alone.
Tantalize each other with touch.
Tantalizing touch. That's what the exercise is called.
I remember doing this when I was like in 2nd grade with my girlfriends.
You would tantalize each other with your touches.
Well, we didn't call it that. We called it practicing our psychic powers. Like, let's try to be psychic, and we'll like put our palms together and try to transmit thoughts to one another.
Like light as a feather, stiff as a board.
You know, yeah,
Black-
it's
Black
one of
Mary
those
or-
stupid like.
Mary Black. That
Let's
was what it
practice hypnotizing each other.
was. Mhm.
Ooh, sleepover.
Ouija board. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that they're putting on to Roseanne and Dan, and that's cute. That's a good way to get them to stop fighting for a second.
Yeah, they have really bad attention spans, so I think it worked.
Yeah. And Roseanne says, "This is corny." And we're pretty sure that...
Corn reference. Corn. It's funny because it's
we
corn.
need to make a sound effect, like a corn sound effect.
Oh, let's do that
should
for
be a bunch
sure. Corn ball. Corny.
What if it was a bunch of popcorn popping?
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
Oh, that's cute.
Or the sound of corn growing.
That's very quaint. Corn doesn't make a sound as it grows.
So Roseanne and Dan are goaded by the family to take this quiz seriously. So they agree to take it seriously, and they clasp hands, and Roseanne is convinced that Dan's not going to be correct when predicting the emotions that she's thinking. And Dan guesses that Roseanne's thinking that he's going to be wrong. He's correct about this. They kind of just like break out of this whole, like, I don't know. They keep dicking around, and they keep straying from the intention. They're supposed to be transmitting messages via touch. And so Dan uses this as a reason to complain about Jackie, saying that he wishes she would move to North Dakota.
Oh, wait, does he transmit this to Roseanne, and Roseanne is the one that says it?
Dan claims that the message he's receiving via touch from Roseanne is that she's telling him that her sister-in-law is moving to North Dakota, and he's really excited about this. And Becky is just pissed about this. Becky is not happy.
Becky's pissed.
Yeah,
Becky doesn't give a shit.
No. Becky shows some anger because they're not taking it seriously, and all she's really concerned about is that they take her stupid magazine seriously, and they're just being dicks and joking about it, and they're using it as a platform to express their own hatred for each other. Because Jackie takes this insult personally and starts complaining to Dan about how he should just be honest with her because he's been giving her crap since she got into the house.
Wow, I have like almost no notes for this section.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, this is intense. This is like their hatred from...
I tried to pretend that I wasn't watching this because it was so abysmal.
Well,
it was like the most static scene I've ever seen in all of TV history.
Okay, so Roseanne and Dan are doing their cute little, we're just playing along with the kids, and then Dan says the thing about Jackie moving, and Jackie takes it personally, and Dan's like, "Oh hell, don't just psychoanalyze everything I say," and it just shifts. It's like all of a sudden this was real. Like,
I have more of a scary Lifetime channel
than
a fun game.
Yeah, there's a
down.
sea change that occurs in this scene, and
I think he's fighting with her in the reality.
And she probably has a more fulfilling relationship life than he does. She's probably like dating. She's on the scene.
She's man of her own domain.
Yes.
A wily bachelorette.
Dan's totally jealous of this because he married Roseanne because no other woman thinks of him as suitable for marriage.
No, it was because he needed meaning. He bought into the whole I must be married.
Yeah, he definitely bought into that.
He must be a man with a wife and children, and now he regrets it for real because of the 70s. Yes, I assume. I don't know.
All I know is that he and Jackie start fighting with one another. Dan starts listening to all these things about Jackie that annoy him, and they're mostly petty, but then he says that the thing that bothers him the most is that she's always around because she does her laundry there, I guess, every weekend. Jackie responds by saying, well, gee, if you only had a job, you wouldn't even notice that I'm not there. And Dan, this sets Dan over the edge. He goes silent. I think in the reality, he throws a chair, because we already know that even in the subdimension, he just throws chairs. Like, he touches them and they fly across the room. So he threw at least 3 chairs after Jackie says this. But in the subdimension, we see him hold his composure, stand up silently and angrily, and just march out of the room. He even slams the door in Roseanne's face as she, chases him out. Because, rude. Yeah, it's totally rude, because Roseanne didn't do anything. So.
That's the point!
And Dan's not even leaving the house. He's just going into the garage, but whatever. Who cares?
Okay, so the next scene is the scene where, let's just go real quick over this, because it's really unimportant.
Okay.
It's a scene where Darlene flips out because DJ smashed her castle. And she's overreacts, and I think it's because she just heard the grown-ups in the kitchen overreacting.
That's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great observation.
Volatile elders.
Yeah, because Jackie,
overreacting.
the scene starts where Jackie's kind of trying to defend herself, and Roseanne is being like, no, you guys just need to stop arguing. It's not a matter of he's right or you're right. It's just this whole conflict bothers me. And that's when Darlene yells from the other room. Because Jackie refuses to apologize to Dan, and Dan is being stubborn and won't apologize to Jackie.
And then DJ won't apologize to Darlene because DJ's a little shit.
And Darlene?
Apparently he can get away with it, and Darlene's actually the person who should be sorry for some reason. I don't know how that even happened.
Well, Darlene's not going to apologize to DJ because DJ fell on her castle.
Yeah,
all right, let's talk about this damn castle for a minute. This confuses me like none other.
Okay.
This castle's made of paper.
Yeah, it's paper and cardboard.
Oh, cardboard, yeah.
Paper and cardboard.
And popsicle sticks.
Paperboard. Not yet.
And wood from the
that's
garage.
No.
That is the reconstructed.
No, I swear
no.
You're
That's the
right,
later.
you're right. There is wood from the garage.
There's a little bit of wood. There's a little bit of wood, and you know what that wood's doing?
God, there was
It's the
popsicle
drawbridge.
sticks on that thing.
Do you know what that wood is doing?
What?
It's a drawbridge.
So?
What's a drawbridge do?
It draws bridges.
It lies flat on the ground. Lies flat on the ground.
I thought it was,
Do you know what the hard part about this is? The whole project? You know what the hard part about this is? It's cutting out paper. All the niches and the dips and the grooves and the tall parts. It's the hard part. Nothing else about this is difficult. When DJ found this, you know what he ruined? About 5 minutes worth of effort. Everything else was there.
Yeah,
I know, like a little bitch. All she needed to do, get some glue, get some effort, get it back together.
The reason why she's acting out like this is because you just heard a bunch of grown-ups flipping out in the kitchen.
Yes.
That's exactly why.
I agree with
the
that.
reality.
I can't believe
I'm
the
just
show
pointing
didn't
out
have
her.
that in there.
I'm just pointing out the reason.
So Roseanne comes in to console her because she's throwing a tantrum and yelling at DJ and blaming him. And Roseanne is actually pretty stern with her and blaming her and asking her, who are you really mad at? Suggesting that Darlene is really frustrated because she has this thing that she put off to the last minute that she's trying to do in a really shitty and haphazard way.
It's probably the best parenting I've seen Roseanne exhibit.
Yeah,
in
she's
the
not
show so
like
far.
considering.
I can really respect all that.
Yeah,
Can't make fun of it.
She didn't tell Darlene that she should go kill herself. She didn't
Hell
tell.
no, she didn't. Why?
She.
Writers really dropped the ball on that one.
So Roseanne calls DJ down to console him. DJ's really feeling sad because he ruined Darlene's thing, and Darlene called him stupid, and Roseanne tells him he's not stupid, he's just clumsy like Daddy.
Okay, and on the notes, we have consoles him. But honestly, this is the best piece of soft comedic talent that we have in this whole show. Roseanne does is she slowly puts piece after piece of random things onto DJ to
Right.
like console him.
'Cause
I think that that's very sweet and kind of funny.
It is, because DJ refuses to move from the stairs. Roseanne's trying to, like, persuade him to go back up to his room or to go into the kitchen or something, but he says he's going to sit on those stairs forever. And yeah, she starts decorating him with
It's a fucking cuteness overload. I just want to die when I
Oh,
watch
yeah,
it.
it came straight out of Full House. All right, so we go now to scene 5. We return to the kitchen. Becky has finished folding the laundry that she's been charged with folding. She's yelling from the laundry room about it. And Roseanne rides DJ in like a horse. She's joking.
What?
Yeah, she's joking with him about.
He's riding her.
No.
How does she ride him?
He's little, and he when he's standing straight up, he comes up
into the
to
kitchen?
like lower than her crotch. So
Is she whipping him?
no,
and
she's
pretending
being cute. She's being a great mother. She's just riding him like a horse, and he's the horse that's like basically standing upright, and well, it's cute.
Wow, it's adorable.
And then they joke, and she jokes about hating him, but gives him a bunch of Eskimo
She
kisses.
jokes about hating him. This is like the cutest freaking scene ever.
She just loves
She
Michael
bops
Fishman.
him on the nose. Try some of this chili. Bop.
Yep. And he tries it, and he says it's a little bit bland.
He goes, it's a little bit bland.
Yeah, typical.
And then the audience goes, "Blah, ha, 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 ha."
They're just laughing because Dan's chili is so pathetic that even like a 5-year-old kid thinks it's bland.
It's like a hamburger helper chili.
Yeah, it's not even. It's just pure.
Refried beans.
Dan put 1 bell pepper in it, and he thought that was spicy. We move on now to the garage where Dan is like, I don't know, he's just mad, and he's like pacing back and forth, and you see an empty beer that's sitting on the counter there.
It's Darlene's beer.
I think it was DJ's beer.
I think Darlene's the secret alcoholic.
I think Darlene over DJ, definitely. DJ's not old enough or smart enough to be able to have a drinking problem. And like,
Becky just drinks at her friend's house.
we didn't have the episode yet where like Darlene's gonna smoke cigarettes in a couple episodes.
So she sure as hell drinking her
Yeah.
dad's beer.
Oh, we know later
And her
on.
mom's secret cooking sherry.
Yep. Well, we know later on actually there's an episode about Becky and Darlene. I think, well, at least Becky, but probably Darlene. They steal the some liquor from the liquor cabinet and they get drunk.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great one. But either way, I think we're supposed to believe that the beer was Dan's because Dan just got in a big argument with his sister-in-law.
What better time to drink than that?
Yeah, exactly. Darlene's just in there because she's getting wood to build her castle again. She still thinks DJ sucks, and she's going to that never gets
She's
resolved.
Right. She's right.
Yeah, he sucks.
I mean, really, if DJ's shitty, it's because he learned it from Dan or Roseanne. Probably Dan, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
that's
his fault.
yeah. You're right. So Roseanne comes in and just accepts Darlene's explanation, lets her run off, and that's the end of that plot. Like, Darlene ends the episode, as we know, still mad at DJ for destroying her castle.
Roseanne lets it go.
Yep. But Roseanne uses it as a way to scold Dan for being so stubborn with Jackie and says, well, it sucks that Darlene's so stubborn. Glad I don't know anyone like that. Just goading Dan to apologize for being an asshole to her sister-in-law.
And the most annoying
His
fashion
sister-in-law.
possible.
Yep. Yeah. Dan, of course, is obstinate and says, no, I'm not apologizing. And Jackie comes in, and she's like, well, I guess I'm just going to stay in a motel because I don't want to cause any more problems.
If she really didn't want to cause any problems, she would have just left.
Yeah, she wouldn't have come in there and
She
made
came
this
in
big
there and
scene.
Yeah.
And then, because then she just is like, well, you're acting like a big baby, Dan. She just instigates him even more.
Look at me, I'm trying to be the adult in this situation.
And Dan responds by acting like an even bigger baby and telling her to hit the bricks. And Roseanne mediates somewhat. She yells at both of them and just throws her hands up and flails them about. And then she leaves and just tells them to deal with it. And then they're like, oh, wow, that Roseanne, she can sure fix everything.
And
Boy.
then they shake. No,
And they
don't
shake. But they shake, but they don't actually make up.
I don't think they shake. Do they
No,
shake?
they don't shake. They don't even really make up. They just kind of stop insulting one another.
They're like, we're going to deal with
then-
each other because Roseanne said so.
And then during the credits, it's Well, it's the credits now.
Yeah, so that's it. That's the
ends.
episode. That was it.
We're done. We've not changed anything. Nobody's altered. Nothing has happened in the show. There's been no progression. We haven't seen anything outside the household. Why have we done this?
No, this is only to set up that Dan and Jackie don't get along all the time. So yeah, we close out the episode in the living room. We didn't leave the house this episode.
Jackie's asleep on the couch.
Dan is asleep on the couch.
Oh, Dan's asleep on the couch watching a movie.
He's got a beer near his head. This is the other empty beer in the episode. He's clearly, he started drinking and things chilled out. That's how it usually is.
Yeah. And that castle's so close to him.
Yeah, the castle has been rebuilt by Darlene, presumably. Although it looks like a parent probably built it. Maybe,
Yeah, maybe one of them gave in and helped her.
Got popsicle sticks. It's been spray painted brown.
And it's in the perfect position for Dan to roll over and crush it.
It is. And Dan's sitting there like falling asleep watching a movie, and Jackie comes in because this is where she's going to be sleeping. Oh yeah, the pipe's broke in her apartment. That's why she needs to stay overnight.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter.
That's the MacGuffin.
So Jackie just is trying to get Dan to move, and but she can't. So Roseanne comes in with some pillows, and they're getting ready for like a showdown.
Dan is watching a show that's about to have a showdown.
Yeah, Dan. Oh man, you got some bad hiccups.
I got horrible hiccups.
So Dan's getting ready for the big showdown. He's watching a Western. I don't know.
It sounds like a medieval time night show.
Yeah, the music sounds like jazzy. I think. I don't know. It's unclear what Dan's watching. Yeah.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
It sounded like an early 80s crime drama.
Maybe that's the big showdown.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's like a courtroom showdown. Showdown might be like a literal word. Bull might be ready to summon some people in.
So Dan's not moving, and Roseanne and Jackie just push him off the couch. They tip the couch over.
And he doesn't fall on the castle. But we know in the Roseanne reality, he fell on the castle.
Okay, so that's the end of the episode, right?
That is the end of the episode.
Okay, so what's your favorite part of the episode?
My favorite part of the episode was when Darlene was like, yo, I'm just going to build my castle. And Roseanne was like, all right, that's cool. And Darlene's like, you're not going to yell at me? Roseanne's like, no. And then Darlene's like, damn, she finally broke.
My favorite part, I love when DJ was sitting on the stairs. He said, I'm just going to sit here. And Roseanne put a blanket over him, a scarf, some weird glasses, and a hat.
And a snake.
And he was
snake.
just there. I love that.
His head around like
I love that. It was so, it was cute.
My favorite part is that Dan's chili is so pathetically bland that even a 5-year-old who tastes it says, man, this is too bland. I love that so much because that says so much about Dan's taste. He drinks the crappiest beer because it's the cheapest, and his chili tastes like
cheap beer.
Cheap beer and chili that also tastes like beer.
Cheap beer with a little chili mixed in.
Yep. So that concludes episode 4, language lessons. We had no language lessons in this episode, by the way. That was the title of the episode, language lessons.
I don't think the word language even showed up once in the script for the episode.
No, and for sure,
lessons
didn't even play a role.
Unless Roseanne said at some point, I hope you learned your lesson, Darlene.
No.
I don't think she said that.
No, inexplicable. Anyway, that concludes episode 4. Please follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at our handle is Roseanne Retro.
Yeah.
And
YouTube.
Retros.
And we're about to launch on YouTube too.
All right, from Roseanne Retrospectives, I'm Scott.
I'm Pat.
I'm Blake.
Signing off. Have a good week.